ومن اتبعه إلى يوم الدين. Come on, you guys sit on the floor. Come on over here. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Oh, can I have واحد اثنان ثلاثة أربعة خمسة ستة سبعة ثمانية تسعة عشرة. Okay, so everybody in learning A1 Arabic, you should know at least 1 to 1,000. Right? No, 1 to 1,000 is not a lot. Okay? It sounds like a lot, right? But it's not. 1 through 10 is normally different from anything else. But it sets the stage for all the rest of the numbers, right? Because when you say 100, you say 101. When you say 21, you get my point? So really all you have to learn is 1 through 10, then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, which is another 10, right? Then you're pretty much done because now you have to do 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 to 1,000, right? Right. Does that make sense? No. The only difference is normally 11 through 19. That's different. You follow me?
No.
So it's 1 through 19 that we really have to learn. Okay? And then we build on that little structure right there. So maybe we're learning, what, 40 numbers to get to 1,000?
No.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, so we broke down 1,000 into 40. Okay? And even within that 40, there is a lot of similarities to the 1 through 10. Right? What is 19? What does teen mean in English? Anybody ever think about that? Teen is a way of saying, a variation of saying 10. Right? So we know that 11, 12 do not follow that. Right? They don't follow that structure. Because if you ever try to explain it to someone in Arabic, or you talk about friend ons, dos, tres, you know, you say, oh, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But English has the same thing. We have the exact same thing. 11 and 12 don't follow the normative structure. And then we start with 13, right? 13, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now we want something different. Does everybody follow?
No.
Why am I doing that? Why am I paraphrasing or showing? Or not paraphrasing, comparing? So that we can get comfortable with someone else's order when we see that we do the same thing. That it's the same exact structure and it's not so foreign after all to do something to have some type of structure like this. Does that follow?
No.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So in Arabic it's going to be ashara. What does ashara mean? 10. Ihdasha. Nasha. Ihdasha. What is ihda? What word is there? From the word, what's in there? Wahid or ahad. Right? Because you can say ahadasha, right? So instead of ahadasha, you just put a kesra. Ihdasha. Ihdasha. That's 11. Ithnasha. Now we can say ithnata ashara. No, ithnasha. People will understand you. Sah wala la ya sheikh. Ithnasha. What does ithna mean? Ithnasha. Take hands off your face. Falatasha. Falatasha. You get it? Arbatasha. What is that? Arba Asha. Right? Arba Asha. Right? Arbatasha. Use the ta to connect. Right? Falatasha. Oh no, don't whisper. Falatasha. Arbatasha. Khamstasha. Sittasha. Sabatasha. Mamtasha. Tistasha. You see that? So it's much more easier in Arabic. We don't have to worry about uns, dos, tres, cuatros, seis, these neuf. No, we don't have to do that. You know, because you don't get to what D set. When you get to 17 in French, now you get 10 and 7, right? But in Arabic, automatically, it's 1 to 10. واحد حتى عشرة. And then from 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Does everybody follow me?
No.
Until Mari?
No,
I'm going to teach you guys something. Before you pray, Hanif, I want you to hear this. One of the things we say in English, we say, nah, mean. Right? Don't we say that? We say that in Arabic. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to say that in Arabic. Fahmeen. Say it again. Fahmeen. That's like we say, nah, mean. Fahmeen.
Fahimeen.
Huh?
Fahimeen.
Now, normally we fahimeen. This is the normal way. Fahmeen. But when you say it fast, the I kind of gets gliding, you know? So you start saying fahmeen. It means naameen. Don't say naameen, say fahmeen. Now the response is different, honey. Instead of saying na'am, you say fahmeen. You get my point? Everybody understand that? Fahmeen? Same thing we say kilma. Word? Say kilma. Kilma. Okay, you guys say we say that all the time. Kilma? Word? That's what kilma means. We know kalima, right? But you say kalima or kilma? Kilma? Kilma. Kalima, kilma. But don't say kulma. Kulma is like hard ground, like a real solder, mechanical solder, rock. It doesn't mean the same thing. But with the kasr and the fatha, you do have it. Fahmeen? Alhamdulillah.
لم تقرأ ولم تكن فاهم.
إذا لم تقرأ ولم تكن فاهما فموتكم خير من دائما. حياة بلا علم حياة مضيعة والعلم بلا تقى العلم لن ينفع. إذا لم تقرأ ولم تكن فاهما فموتكم خير من حياتكم دائما. You'll get it, inshallah. Inshallah. Fahmeen? What you'll learn through talking in Arabic is that we talk the same. We use the same. It's the same tongue. Okay? It's this you getting back with things. Sometimes when you come to the United States after living in Africa for a while, you realize how African Americans still are. You get my point?
No.
It's like nah. Alhamdulillah. We think we've done something different. No, there's nothing different. It's just that some people recognize that there's a long-standing activity, and other people just think that this is something we've made up. No, it's in the blood, as they say. It's in the DNA. So, and that is a natural way. See, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, in Islam, there's a concept now. Talking about the Bedouin. Okay, I'm sorry. Talking about the Bedouin, the desert Bedouin. What has happened through colonialism is we have isolated the desert Bedouin to be what? The Arab. You get my point, right? When in actuality, that's not the case. It's been the Bedouin, period. The Bedouin lifestyle in and of itself has been the thing that has been praised. And the Bedouin lifestyle is similar, whether it's the desert Bedouin, or whether it's the Mongolian Bedouin, or whether it is the African Bedouin, okay, or whether it is any other type of Bedouin there might be. That Bedouin lifestyle, the life of irtahal, كيف يعني ودي حريرة إن رقبة مرتحل, right? The life of وهل تطيق وداعا أيها الرجل, right? You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an old Jahiliyyah. Now what I say, we say ودي حبيبك إن ركب مرتحل وهل تطيق وداعا أيها الرجل. These are old, these things I'm quoting to you are classical lines of poetry. or classical rhymes that existed before the time of the Prophet. They call them mu'allaqat al-sab'a, the ones that used to hang from the Kaaba, but they didn't actually hang up from the Kaaba, but that's how much clout they had. Okay? In the life of the believers, in the life of the Bedouin, the Arabs, prior to Islam. And they're important because the Quran came down on their understandings. What does that mean? The Arabs, everybody's known for something. Every people have a certain thing. Arabs are known for their tongue, right? The oral tradition, being able to kick the willy bobo and say things in such a way no one else can say it. Okay, no one else can articulate that. In fact, the word araba literally means to make something clear, to leave no doubt about an expression. This is what the word araba means. That's where we get the word i'rab. Clarifies what's being said. So when we say al-Quran and Arabiyan, what does that mean? Does it mean an Arabic Quran? You ain't translated nothing. You just anglicized two words. There's a difference between a Quran in Arabiya and a Quran in Arabic. You get my point? Meaning, there's no difference except the Anglicization of it. Now, if you say, what does the word Araba mean? Something that leaves no doubt about what's being said, right? Doesn't that seem to be a very same thing that Allah's telling us? This time, it's not going to get confused. Why? Because He sent it down as an Arabiyan, in a form that is impossible to be confused, right? To leave no doubt about what's being said. Does that make sense? And what does Quran mean? Are we referring to the Mus'haf, the book? No, what does Quran mean? Reading or recited piece by most of those who dare to teach. You see what I'm saying? So now if we translate that or understand that to be, this time He sent down a recital that leaves no doubt about what's being said. Isn't that something different than just saying this is a Quran in Arabiya? That's the benefit of learning how to read, recite, and learn what you're hearing. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I make mention of that, about that Bedouin, because that gives it a whole global context, right? Of that life. Because when we look at Ibn Khaldun, his study of the world, he broke the peoples down into two: the desert and the city person. And the characteristics in his introduction to the history of the world. Okay? And he saw how those people in the Bedou, and the word Bedou in Arabic doesn't necessarily mean desert. It means a person who's also in the village, meaning not in the city. Does that make sense? The countryside is called the Bedou. Al-khaylu wal-laylu wal-bayda'u ta'rifuni. وَالرُّمْحُ وَالْقِرْطَاسُ وَالْقَلَمِ. You feel that? That's another one of those old rhymes that we use as points to reference to. You see, I started it, he started to finish it. He didn't know I was going to say it. But this is something that is understood amongst the people who speak. Just the same thing, like I say, you can get with hada or you can get with that. You can get with hada or you can get with that. Follow me. You can get with hada or you can get with that. You see, that's in our minds, right? But now you know hada with that. Now, you can get with or you can get with that. Alhamdulillah. So context comes through oral, right? The oral tradition. Ours is an oral tradition. And I'm using that to explain the word Bedou. I said, Al-khaylu wal-laylu wal-bayda'u.
Ta'rifuni.
Ta'rifuni. We know the word Arafah, right? That's from our lesson today, actually. U'arrifuka. That's going to be from our lesson when we come back from the Salah, inshallah ta'ala. But before we do that, no. Need your attention. Understand I'm saying the Bedou doesn't necessarily mean the desert. I said it means the countryside. It means the way far away place. The place where sometimes there's danger. And I used that poem. I said, Al-khaylu. What is Al-khaylu? Al-khaylu is rukub, riding horses, horseback riding. Okay, knowing how to ride. That was a manly thing. You weren't considered a man unless you could ride. Al-khaylu wal-laylu. What is al-layl? Night. Okay, so knowing how to rock the night. What does that mean? Sometimes you sleep. Sometimes you go home to your family. You don't work all the night, right? Sometimes you stand up under the midnight oil studying. Sometimes you get up and offer salah. Sometimes you host your guests drinking coffee, tea, and milk, and kicking the willy bobo with your friends. You get my point? So when he says al-layl, so I know al-khayl. First listen, al-khaylu wal-laylu, the riding and the nights. Wal-bayda'u, and the hoods, the futa, the neighborhoods, the faraway places. My name rings bells all over the world. Remember that? Anywhere I go. But the Baydah makes it clear like it's a dangerous place. Baydah from Bedu. So Bedu and Baydah is the place. Any place that you might go at nighttime is creepy. You get my point? And it's deserted, or it's out in the woods, and there's lions, tigers, and bears on mine, right? There's things in there, right? Or that you going in the mountaintop. This is all the Baydah. Ta'arifuni, they all know me. What does that mean? I know my way around. I can ride, right? I know how to spend the night in the different ways that the night should be spent.
I fear nothing.
And I don't fear no place. I go places, they all know me. I know how to deal with those places. You get my point? وَالرُّمْحُ وَالسَّيْفُ وَالرُّمْحُ وَالْقِرْطَاسُ وَالْقَلَمِ وَالرُّمْحُ, and the spear. The spear, what does that mean? It means long-term plans and long-term plots. I see that coming. You get my point? And I can throw it. You get my point? So look, and the safe means up close. When it's right in the heat, and it's safe.
The sword.
The sword. You know? So long-term and up close. And the kirtas, I got papers. This is kirtas, like this. When I get the picture of kirtas, it's not just like a book, but a whole bunch of papers, you know, that you flipping through, and you got all types of writings, you got books and scrolls, you know. Well, kirtas, what does that mean? What's the concept? Forget just the idea of the book. Literacy. I'm literate. I read. I'm well read. Not just that I'm literate. I'm well read. Kirtas. And I'm up to date. I mean, I'm modern too. I know what's going on. I'm current, basically. You get my point? And I know my history and tradition, so I have the context. That's what all kirtas means. Well, qalami. And I got pen.
And I'm nice with that pen.
القلم please, fine.
Does that also mean I have something to say?
Yes, I can get down. I can rhyme. You know, I can articulate. You know, what does Allah tell us? That we teach with the qalam ma lam ta'lam, right? No. You learn what with the pen. What happens how do you get a master's degree? You gotta write. The ultimate, how do you get a PhD? You gotta write. You gotta be able to present your ideas in an articulate format. That's the highest form of education. It's not al-qalam. So he's saying I'm highly educated. Don't let the Baydah fool you.
I'm not sure if he can write, but he can speak.
But yeah, and
that is
he's making it clear too, because not everybody could write. He's correct. It's not that you just can write, because al-qalam and al-arab, yani he can talk, which is the same idea. It's called al-rijal. In Mauritania, we call it al-rijal. What is al-rijal? It implies manhood, right? But really, it's talking about your legs. Once you get to a certain time in Mauritania, they make you stand up and they ask you anything, and you have to be able to talk and articulate that subject without tataraddad wa tatatata, and without. You got to be able to do it without saying Yeah, you get my point? Now they don't tell you what the subject is. They start jumping around, and you have to keep a salimatul pace. You have to keep a pace. You can't be like, you can't be pausing, thinking. No, you have to have really that better. Think on your feet and articulate your ideas and what's being said. Why do you know? Because from the very beginning, you started reading the biographies, you're reading the different books, so by the time you get here, you can touch anywhere. Does that make sense?
No.
And if you don't reach that place, then, you know, ma fish qalam. It's like he's a qalam al-fa'al. And the qalam is an action. Like just right now, I quoted poems that were written before the Prophet. I quoted them from Mauritania. He quoted them from Sudan.
Yes, it is international for Arabs.
Right, this is international. Okay? You can go down to Senegal and hear the same thing. You can go down anywhere you go where the Muslims are benefiting with Arabic. These are the memorization things that you, just like we memorize hickory dickory dock with no benefit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we have to come to a new, use our imagination to go through our childhood again. Okay? And use that childlike imagination to, that state of mind, right? Remember the fist, right? Forget, interact, and have a childlike state of mind. Okay? And then each one teach one, right?
Yeah.
So we got that fist. So, just so you can remember it. Okay? And that state of mind helps us to have a new childhood so we can rethink it and put it back in our minds. Because what we stated before, the mind doesn't know what's real and not real as long as you think it. That's the reality. That's my reality. That's my i'tiqad. You get my point? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All right. So, that was our introduction. Fahmeen?
Fahmeen.
Hey, alhamdulillah. Kilma? So now today we're going to, I said we're scripting, right? Now? Okay, so now we're having a conversation. Assalamu alaikum. كيف حالكم؟ لا بأس الحمد لله رب العالمين.
He's already Maghrib.
نعم الحمد لله رب العالمين. كيف يومكم هذا؟
الحمد لله.
كيف يومكم هذا؟ How was your day? How was this day? You get it? Because he's reminding me, it's like كيف حال يومكم. It's already Maghrib, so it's not like, how are you? How was your day? How was this day of yours, okay? Literally. Alhamdulillah, la ba'as, Now it says, أحب أن أعرفك على. أحب أو أريد أن. قولوا أريد أن. أريد أن. What does that mean? I desire to. Who talks like that? Oh, the doctor. Of course. But well, who was that? But normally people do not think. But how are you thinking like that? I say think relax. You can say uhibbu an, or you say uridu an. Uhibbu means I'd love to, I'd like to, right? Uridu an, I would like to. It's the same thing. Uridu an u'arrifaka. Qulu?
أريد أن أعرفكم.
أعرفكم or I want to say it in the singular here. أعرفك. Okay. أعرفك. What does أعرفك mean? It has something to do with to know, and that's good enough. What does ka mean?
You.
So to know you, for you to know, and ka at the end doesn't mean that you're the one doing it, but it's for you, right? Does that make sense? So here, at the beginning is me. I want to u'arrifaka. What does that mean?
I want you to.
No, I want to introduce you to. I want to make you recognize. U'arrifaka, the ra is mushaddad, it has extra movement in it. Whenever a verb has an extra middle shaking, the nat has made that thing causative. So arifa, kuli arifa, to recognize and know something, right? Alima means to know something, right? So allama means what? To make it known. To make it known to someone else, right? وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Right? وَعَلَّمَ. Allah made everything known, every name of everything known to Adam. Allama, not alima. Allama. So u'arrifaka. So I want to get you to recognize someone, or get you to know. I want to introduce to you. هل فهمتم؟
نعم فهمنا.
فاهمين. أي والحمد لله رب العالمين. So that's how we're going to start our conversation. We're going to introduce someone today. Okay? We're going to give the salams, and then we'll say, and then you name the person. Okay? Okay? And then you say, oh, assalamu alaikum, Forza Saeed, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban bikum. You get my point, guys? Hey, well, we're going to go through this. تشرفت تفضل شيخ.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
You want to close the curtain? Close the slide.
I didn't think it was time. It's not time.
It'll be 5 minutes. I think he's, what's that?
Do we really need to close this? Do we really need to close it?
This part?
Yes. Yeah, we just pray right here. We don't really need to do that.
So Lita, you can close this one right here.